Have you ever felt like you're walking on eggshells in a relationship, constantly second-guessing yourself, yet you can't figure out why? You're not paranoid. You're not imagining things. What you're experiencing is a calculated psychological operation so subtle, so refined, that most men never realize they're being tested until it's too late. Today, you're going to discover something that will fundamentally change how you see every interaction with women from this moment forward. You'll understand why that sudden cold shoulder wasn't random, why that innocent question about your friend wasn't really innocent, why you feel emotionally drained after arguments that seem to come from nowhere. The pain you feel, that confusion, that self-doubt, that constant need to prove yourself, isn't accidental. It's the result of invisible tests designed to probe your psychological armor for weak spots. And once she finds them, the game is already over. You've already lost control without even knowing you were playing. But here's the solution. Once you understand these Machiavellian tactics, once you can see the invisible strings being pulled, you become impossible to manipulate. You become the one in control. And that's exactly what you're about to learn. You need to understand something fundamental. In female psychology, nothing is accidental. That random mood swing, calculated, that innocent in comparison to another man, strategic, that sudden withdrawal of affection, a precision strike designed to test your emotional fortitude. Women operate under a Machiavellian logic of selection, control, and dominance that's been refined over thousands of years of evolution. While you're playing checkers, thinking each interaction is what it appears to be, she's playing three-dimensional chess, thinking 5 moves ahead. This isn't about evil or malice. It's about survival instincts encoded so deeply that most women don't even consciously realize they're doing it. But make no mistake, the effects on you are very real, very deliberate, and very dangerous if you don't understand what's happening. Picture this. You've made plans for 7 p.m. She shows up at 7:20 without apology. You text her, and she takes hours to respond, then acts like nothing happened. She agrees to something, then forgets, or changes her mind last minute. Sound familiar? These aren't accidents. These aren't signs of a scattered woman. These are surgical probes into your psychological defenses. Each time you tolerate these micro-disrespects without consequence, she's taking notes. Weak man, malleable, easy to control. You see, when you let these small violations slide, thinking you're being understanding or flexible, you're actually failing her tests. You're broadcasting that your boundaries are negotiable, that your time isn't valuable, that your self-respect has a price, and that price is her approval. The most insidious part, these tests start so small you barely notice them. A 5-minute delay becomes 10, 10 becomes 30. Before you know it, you're rearranging your entire life around her schedule, her moods, her whims, and she loses all respect for you. Are you sure you can handle that? Mark from work would have figured it out by now. I thought you were more ambitious than this. These comments hit different, don't they? They slide under your armor and strike directly at your masculine core. And that's precisely the point. These aren't observations. They're psychological weapons designed to activate your need to prove yourself. When she questions your capability, compares you to other men, or subtly implies you're not measuring up, she's not looking for reassurance. She's testing whether you'll enter her frame, whether you'll start dancing to prove your worth, and the moment you do, the moment you start explaining, justifying, or trying harder, you've already lost. You think you're defending your honor. In reality, you're handing her the remote control to your emotions. Every time you react to these provocations, you're confirming that her opinion of you matters more than your own self-assessment. You're literally training her that she can control your behavior with a few well-placed words. This is the nuclear option in her arsenal, and it's devastatingly effective. One day she's warm, affectionate, engaged. The next, she's cold, distant, barely acknowledging your existence. No explanation, no obvious trigger, just absence. You feel it in your chest, don't you? That anxiety, that need to fix whatever went wrong. Your mind races. What did I do? What did I say? How can I get things back to normal? And that's exactly where she wants you. This withdrawal isn't emotional, it's tactical. She's creating a vacuum to see if you'll rush to fill it. Will you panic? Will you chase? Will you compromise your position just to get her warmth back? Every desperate text you send, every attempt to talk about what's wrong, every concession you make to restore the peace, she's cataloging it all. The truly Machiavellian aspect. Often, nothing was actually wrong. The withdrawal itself was the test. Your reaction tells her everything she needs to know about how much power she has over your emotional state. Here's where it gets truly diabolical. These three pillars don't operate in isolation. They work together in a sophisticated system of psychological warfare. She'll disrespect a boundary, pillar 1. Then when you react, she'll question why you're being so sensitive, pillar 2. And if you push back, she'll withdraw completely, pillar 3. You're caught in a psychological triangle where every move seems wrong. Stand up for yourself. You're overreacting. Let it slide. You're weak. Try to discuss it rationally. You're needy. This isn't accidental confusion, it's engineered chaos designed to keep you off balance and reactive. You might wonder, why would women do this? The answer lies in evolutionary psychology. Throughout human history, women faced a critical survival challenge, choosing a partner who could protect and provide, not just physically but emotionally and socially. But here's the problem. Any man can act strong in easy times. Any man can play the role when there's no pressure. So how does she really know if you're genuinely strong or just pretending? She tests you. She creates artificial pressure to see if you'll crack. She probes for weakness because her survival instincts demand she know the truth about who you really are. In her subconscious calculation, it's better to discover your weaknesses through testing than to discover them when real danger appears. It's better to know you'll fold under emotional pressure before she's invested years in a relationship with you. In today's world, these ancient testing mechanisms have been amplified by modern culture. Social media provides endless comparison opportunities. Dating apps create an illusion of infinite options. Popular culture glorifies drama and emotional manipulation as passion. Modern women have more tools, more options, and more social support for these testing behaviors than ever before. What used to be subtle, instinctive probes have evolved into sophisticated psychological operations that can destroy a man's self-worth in weeks. You're not just dealing with natural female testing instincts anymore. You're dealing with those instincts weaponized by a culture that tells women they deserve the best, while telling men they're probably not good enough. It's a perfect storm of psychological manipulation. The apex of this game arrives at a critical moment that most men don't even recognize as significant. It's the moment when you demonstrate weakness without realizing it, and once this happens, the entire power dynamic shifts irreversibly. Picture this scenario. She's been cold for days. You finally break and ask, "What's wrong? Did I do something?" In that instant, with those simple words, you've revealed everything. You've shown that her emotional state controls yours. You've demonstrated that you need her approval to feel secure. You've proven that you'll chase her validation, or maybe it happens differently. She makes a disrespectful comment about your career, comparing you to her friend's successful boyfriend. Instead of maintaining your frame, you start explaining your 5-year plan, justifying your current position, trying to prove you're on the right track. Congratulations, you just handed her the keys to your self-worth, the most devastating version. She withdraws affection, and you respond by becoming more attentive, more accommodating, more eager to please. You bring flowers, you plan special dates, you essentially reward her for treating you poorly. In her mind, the equation is complete. I pull away. He tries harder. I own him. At this crucial moment, something fundamental shifts in her perception of you. You transform from a potential equal partner into an emotional servant. Your desires, your needs, your entire emotional ecosystem begins to revolve around her approval. She doesn't even have to try anymore. You've programmed yourself to constantly seek her validation, the truly insidious part. Once this dynamic is established, it's almost impossible to reverse. Every attempt to regain your power looks like compensation. Every boundary you try to set seems fake. You're fighting from a position of weakness, and she knows it. The game is over, and you lost without even knowing you were playing. When you fail these tests repeatedly, The consequences extend far beyond just her losing attraction. Your entire life begins to reorganize around her approval. You start making decisions not based on what you want, but on what might please her or avoid her displeasure. Your friendships suffer because you're always prioritizing her moods. Your career stagnates because you're emotionally exhausted from constant relationship drama. Your hobbies disappear because you're too busy trying to decode her behavior. You become a shadow of who you once were. And here's the cruelest irony. The more you subordinate yourself to pass her tests, the more she despises you for it. Women don't want a servant, they want a partner. But by failing these tests, you've proven you're not partner material. You're just another weak man who can be controlled with a few emotional manipulations. Here's what Machiavelli understood that modern men have forgotten. Power in relationships isn't about domination or control. It's about maintaining your center regardless of what storms rage around you. It's about being so secure in who you are that her tests bounce off you like rain off a mountain. The correct response to her tests isn't to fight them or submit to them. It's to be genuinely indifferent to them. When she shows up late, you're already engaged in something interesting. When she withdraws attention, you're too busy living your life to chase. When she questions your worth, you're too secure to need to prove anything. This isn't about being cold or cruel. It's about understanding that her tests are actually a compliment. She only tests men she sees as potentially worthy. The problem is that most men fail by taking the test seriously, by engaging with them as if they were real problems to be solved rather than fitness tests to be passed. So how do you respond to these tests? First, recognize them for what they are. That emotional reaction you feel, that urgency to fix things, that need to prove yourself, those are your warning signals that you're being tested. When she creates micro-disrespects, you don't get angry or lecture her about respect. You simply maintain your boundaries without emotion. She's late. You leave after 15 minutes and go do something enjoyable. No anger, no punishment, just natural consequences. When she projects devaluation, you don't defend or justify. You might smile and say something like, "That's an interesting opinion," then change the subject. You don't take the bait. You don't enter her frame. You remain centered in your own reality. When she withdraws attention, you don't chase. You don't even acknowledge the withdrawal. You continue living your life as if nothing has changed. If she wants to reconnect, she knows where to find you. If not, you're perfectly fine either way. When you respond to her tests from a position of genuine strength and indifference, something remarkable happens. The entire dynamic flips. Suddenly, she's the one seeking your approval. She's the one wondering what you're thinking. She's the one working to maintain your interest. This isn't manipulation. It's simply the natural result of being a genuinely centered, secure man. When her tests fail to generate the expected emotional response, when you remain stable regardless of her emotional weather, she begins to see you as fundamentally different from every other man she's known. And that's when real attraction begins. Not the superficial attraction based on looks or money or status, but the deep, primal attraction to a man who cannot be moved by emotional manipulation, a man who knows who he is and doesn't need her or anyone else to validate his worth. Now you understand the game. You see the invisible tests that have been controlling your relationships. You recognize the Machiavellian tactics that have kept you off balance and reactive. The question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Every interaction from this moment forward is an opportunity to demonstrate your new understanding. Every test she throws at you is a chance to prove you've evolved beyond emotional manipulation. Every moment of potential weakness is a moment to choose strength instead. But here's the thing, this isn't just about relationships with women. Once you understand these dynamics, you'll see them everywhere. In business negotiations, in social hierarchies, in family dynamics. The ability to maintain your center while others try to pull you into their emotional chaos is a superpower in every area of life. The man who doesn't understand female tests becomes an emotional servant, constantly seeking approval, constantly off balance, constantly wondering why he feels so drained. But the man who sees through these tests, who responds from genuine strength rather than reactive emotion, that man becomes truly free. Have you experienced these tests in your own relationships? Have you felt that confusion, that emotional manipulation? that sense of always being one step behind. Comment below and share your story. Like this video if it opened your eyes to dynamics you didn't even know existed. Subscribe to this channel because we're revealing truths about human psychology that nobody else has the courage to tell you. And don't forget to check out our previous videos. Each one reveals another layer of the hidden psychological games that control our lives without us even knowing it. Remember, in the game of power and relationships, the only winning move is to maintain your center. Once you understand the tests, once you see the strings being pulled, you can never be controlled again. Your journey to true psychological freedom starts now.